Hi, and welcome to A Drummer's Guide to, the podcast all about the things that it takes to be a professional musician, aside from actually playing an instrument. My name is Emily Dolan Davies, and I've been playing drums since 1999, been professional since 2008, and helping other musicians into this professional space since 2018, and that is why we are here today. Also, Happy New Year! So I'm filming this on the 2nd of January. I've been doing all my plans for the year. I thought I won't bother going into those because it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like it's boring for you guys, honestly, because it has involved a lot of I find this really fun, like organisation and like spreadsheets, and I've started using Notion, if anyone is interested in sort of looking at a different way to collate all the things that we all have to stay on top of, because honestly it's I'm gonna say it felt endless, but I found a way that kind of works for my brain in Notion, which is my new favourite thing right now. So I'm getting super geeky with it, with a few sort of automations that link in with Keyboard Maestro. If you've heard me talk about Keyboard Maestro, I kind of love that. I'm finally organising my episode structures and stuff in a way that is logical as well. Like it kind of semi was sorted, but it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be, but now very happy, and it's only going to grow. So I'm really happy. I've been geeking out the last 24 hours, as if I don't geek out all the time anyway. But anyway, I thought I would do an episode basically because it is a new year, and I know that we're all getting our goals together for the year, and I know for a lot of people listening, that will be centered around kind of progressing in your career in terms of music, playing with more people, playing bigger shows, playing with more well-known artists, named artists, so that people actually know who you're playing with. And it's so funny, people get really apologetic, should we say, when I work with them. Like, I can't tell you the percentage, it's a very high percentage, sort of say to me, I know this sounds bad, but I really want to play with like a named artist. And I'm like, that's not bad. I get it. Like, it's difficult for me. I try not to. I don't do a very good job all the time of like labeling things as good or bad. I don't believe that they are good or bad, but there is definitely something in, because I think it comes down to, because our job is, for a lot of people, seen as a hobby, I think, and they kind of can't wrap their heads around it being a job unless there is a point of reference that they understand. So what I mean by that is, I'll tell you an example, right? I had been playing for many years. I had been touring with a few different artists, but they weren't like in the mainstream, should we say. And every time I would speak to my granny, she's no longer here, I would sort of like, oh, hello dear, how are you? And I would like, yeah. And she's like, oh, how's the drumming? And I'd be like, yeah, I just got off the road, I just went to South America, did a tour, whatever. She'd be like, that's a nice hobby, dear. And that was always her thing. And she just couldn't get her head around it until I did one TV appearance, and this was a mind thing. It was with Bette Midler, and it was on Strictly Come Dancing. And because she watched Strictly Come Dancing, suddenly it materialised for her. Look, this is my job, because she could physically see it. She had a point of reference. So I think it's I think we all have that. It makes us more viable, it makes it more real, I suppose, if you say, oh, I'm playing with an artist that you've actually heard of. I swear to you, this is actually my job. Like, at least that's how I've always felt. So I think a lot of people's goals this year are going to be centered around that. And I wanted to just, at the end of the day, I know that, I talk about all sorts of different aspects of being a professional musician. Whether that is, like I said, I don't really talk about playing your actual instrument, because that's kind of up to you. And there are so many different directions that you can go with that, in terms of genre, in terms of like where you want to be, who you want to be working with, what kind of environment you want to be working in. So that's kind of, I find it hard to talk on that, to be honest. But all the other stuff, like, I know I talk about social media, networking, blah, 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 blah. But the crux of it is, you don't need to do anything, but in order to have a career, if you want to be out there playing live, and I'm not talking about if you want to be a social media drummer, i.e. someone that has income from, say, YouTube views or TikTok, dude, I don't know how to do that. Not my bag, like absolutely not. All power to those that can do it, because it is like a mystery to me sometimes. However, when it comes to going out, playing live, recording, being in the studio, playing with other musicians, I know how to do that. I've been doing it for a very long time now. And the bottom line of all of this, whether you can be fantastic on social media. I know people that are sort of like Insta famous or whatever you want to say, like in terms of their playing, but they're not playing out live, they're not playing with other musicians, and they're desperate to. And on the surface, it looks like they're super successful, but they're not. In their own minds, with their own goals, they're still striving to do the thing of just being on a stage and playing live. And as long as that kind of element is part of your goal and plan, the bottom line that I keep saying, the bottom line and then not saying the bottom line is playing with other musicians. And the only way that you're going to be playing with other musicians is by meeting other musicians. So I thought I'd do an episode on where are all the musicians? And I thought that this was apt because it's January, right? And January is notoriously quiet for musicians and for work. So unless you're touring Australia, for instance, a friend of mine, he's out there with the Sugar Babes right now. They're doing a few shows. Great, busy for a week, but then gonna be back, okay? And then January, very, very quiet. February can be quite quiet as well. It's kind of March when things start picking up, when bands start getting put together, when tours are being planned and all that sort of stuff. Admittedly, they should already be being planned right now, but yeah, sometimes they're a bit late in getting the musicians involved, sometimes, in my experience at least. So I thought that I just make that be known, because what that means is a lot of musicians that are usually on the road touring are kicking about wanting to play music. So January is kind of the perfect time to be expanding your network of musicians, to be reaching out to people. And I just thought I'd give you some ideas of places that musicians will be right now, because they ain't got no work. And in fairness, they're probably doing something similar to you in that, keeping up their network, just hanging out with people, just catching up with people, all this sort of stuff. So I think it's really worth tackling this. So the first thing, and that I feel like a broken record, and I apologize if I say the same things. I've become very self-conscious that I'm repeating myself. But sometimes repetition is good, I suppose. But the first and most obvious place for me is jam nights, because you never know who's going to turn up, and the amount of jam nights I've been to where you just think, this is wild what is happening, this is wild who is here right now, this is wild that I'm playing with this person, this is wild that I finally met this person that I've heard all about for years, and I'm sure, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe some people have thought the same about me, I don't know, I can't get into that headspace, it's not one I'm comfortable with. But anyway, jam nights are, for me, the most effective way to expand your network in a practical way. So, it's all good and well getting more followers on, Instagram, social media, TikTok, whatever. But that doesn't always translate to work. However, if you're out there literally playing with people on stage, you're together, you're playing some songs together, that is the quickest way to create bonds, to showcase what you do to those people on the stage, to those people in the audience. You don't know who's there. It's kind of the thrill of that is always really compelling for me. And you're going to meet a whole ton of new people, no doubt. And even if you meet one new person, they've got a whole network of their own. So for me, jam nights have and will, for me, always be, well, I shouldn't say always be because life changes, but for me, it's the most if you want to talk about return on investment, if you've ever heard of that term, so what you invest, the return that you get from that. If you want to look at return on investment of time, of stress, of getting up there and playing, it's terrifying. I still am terrified by going to jams and getting up and playing. I'm like, oh! But I do know that the other side of that fear and doing the thing is exhilaration for doing it, generally speaking. I think only once have I got up and gone, oh, that was awful. But it's not a bad hit rate for the amount of times I've gotten up. So yeah, the exhilaration of it is wonderful, but also the potential of meeting new people, new connections, potentially work maybe, but may not be immediately, maybe way down the line, as I've spoken about before, and is definitely my experience. Sometimes it takes years, sometimes it's literally the next week, but you literally don't know. But it's kind of like playing the odds, and I often talk about this as well. Well, I haven't probably mentioned this for a while actually. Like, being a professional musician is kind of like winning the lottery, and every time you go out to, say, a jam night, you're buying another ticket. You're giving yourself another chance to make it, to not just make it, but to sustain it. Because I think this is the other misconception that people have, is that once you've done one named artist, or you've been on one tour, even if it's a world tour, you think you're going to be working for the rest of your life. It's not like that, not at all, not even slightly. So yeah, I think jam nights, great investment of time. Obviously you may, well, not obviously, you may have your own how can I put this, right, whatever, if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, and I'm saying to you, go to a jam night, it's the best way that you can spend your time. Notice what comes up in your mind in terms of reasons that you can't do it. If something comes up, maybe something won't. I hope for you that nothing just came up in terms of friction for you, but I know myself, and I'm very good at making excuses. Oh, I can't do that because. Now, I would notice those and say, A, what are they rooted in? Are they rooted in experience, or just other people's experiences, or just pure imagination? Because I would say, actually, it doesn't even matter what you think they're rooted in. Challenge it. Instead of being a victim to the thoughts and the patterns that you've always had, why not try something different? Why not try? Why not just try, see what happens? Treat it like an experiment. No big deal. What's the worst that can happen? You get up, you don't play very well. So what? If you're new there, chances are they're not going to remember you anyway. And I don't mean that to sound rude, but it's true. And there's something really empowering about that. You can be, like, I know in our own minds and bodies and experiences, we think we walk into a situation and we feel like the spotlight is on us. Nah, it's not like that. Like, I can't tell you the amount of things that I've been at that I have, thought that I, not made an impact, but people noticed, should we say, and then realised afterwards, oh, nobody noticed me. And I like it. Like I said, I quite thrive on it, because it means that you can do the work without people noticing sometimes. And when you do stand out, it's because it's for a positive reason, which is great. And I find that that's often the way. People don't remember the people that rock up and don't play very well. They remember the people that rock up and you go, whew, wow. Worst case scenario, why not go down to a jam night and just watch and just chat to some people and just see what kind of songs they're playing, see what the vibe is, just do that if you want a soft entry into it, but get your butt down there, let me say. In terms of where to find jam nights, by the way, I find social media is very good. So if you follow musicians that are local to you and then see where they're going to, because they often post about it, especially if they're in the house band, they want to promote it. General Google searches, obviously, Facebook, blah, 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 blah. Like, just find them. Find a way. That's my motto for life. Find a way is the thing that I feel separates the professionals from the hobbyists. Professionals find a way to make it work, and that is across the board in every aspect, whether it's finding a jam night, whether it's finding a way to make a system work when it suddenly is broken, like a playback or whatever, or finding a way to play something that they physically don't feel like they can, so you find a workaround. It's all about just adapting and making it work. Like, so just make it work, okay? So jam nights are always going to be my number one, for now at least. The second thing is just going to general gigs, whether you're playing those gigs or whether you're just a punter. Go and just enjoy, obviously, lovely, nice bit of music, but go chat to people. I can't tell you the amount of people that I have met through going and playing like For instance, there was one gig I played in, me and my sister were talking about this over Christmas. It was, I want to say, we worked it out, I think it was 2004, so I would have been 17, maybe even 16. I went and played one gig where it was 3 songs that I played with this girl. Shout out Sam Hurd, by the way. There's no way you're listening right now, but hi. I haven't spoken to you for years, but hi. So we went and did the show. It was three songs. It was kind of like a showcase for new artists, singer-songwriters. And at that one show, I met one of the greatest musicians I've ever met, like as in artists, who he went by Sam Elliott then. His name is Cy Connolly now. Fantastic artist, like, just I can't stress how amazing he is as an artist and a songwriter. I love what he does. So there was him. But also I met a bass player called George, who I swear to you is that one man is the foundation of why I got to have a career. He brought me into the fold with literally, it was a matter of days later. He was like, do you fancy coming and doing a covers gig with me down at my pub? Because he lived above the pub. And I was just like, yeah, sure, great. And it was the first time that I was like, oh, okay, this is different. Like, I hadn't done covers gigs, I don't think, but I'd done a few gigs where I'd been paid a little bit of money. But this was the first time that I was getting paid. And I was like, oh, okay. And anyway, did this one gig. He liked what I did. I got on with the guitarist, Andrea. Shout out to George and Andrea, by the way. And we continued to gig together. I mean, to this day, we still gig together. And how many years ago was that? So 20 years later, we're still gigging occasionally. But for a long time, regularly, I was gigging with George and various people that he was playing with. So he would bring me into the fold. And from that, I can't tell you the amount of musicians that I met, like literally hundreds, crazy, from this one gig that I played. And it was actually really funny because I remember sitting watching the other bands. That's the other thing, chat to the other bands. I find so many musicians get so weird about talking to the other artists and musicians that are playing with those artists. No, go chat to everyone. And anyway, I remember watching the artist that George was playing with. The artist was fine. I was like, okay. But I was like, he's brilliant. Who is he? And I just thought, right, I'm 100% going to chat to him afterwards. And anyway, he got off stage. He must have packed up his stuff real quick. And I was just watching the next artist because I don't like chatting during artists, obviously. And then I just get a tap on my shoulder and there is George. Hi, I just wanted to come chat to you and just say how much I enjoyed your playing. And I was like, dude, me too. And that was just the start of it, just the start of the friendship. It was just crazy. So I do feel like I'm a bit of a hippie. I do believe that some things are kind of meant to be and a bit fated and all that sort of stuff. I do believe that. And I do believe that me and George were always meant to play together and know each other and be friends. Like, he's a fantastic human, one of my favourite people on this planet. I should really see him more. I miss him. I do actually really miss him. But anyway, go to gigs, chat to people. And again, because it's the new year, a lot of artists who are also session musicians will be doing their artist side of stuff. So they'll be out there playing. So just go chat, see what they do. Like, everyone has to earn a living. And often artists are, let's say they're a singer, often they will be backing singers for other artists, or if they play an instrument, they will be playing their instrument for another artist on tour or whatever. So just go chat, all good. A third one is to go to trade shows. That's always a good shout, which seems sometimes a bit counterintuitive because if, say, okay, not relevant in January, but say a drum show, as a drummer, me going there probably sounds like, why would you go there? Like, you're a drummer, no one's going to give you work there. Let me tell you, some of my biggest gigs, my most by biggest, I mean like most well-known artists that I've played with, have come from other drummers recommending me. It ain't other people, it's drummers. So go, I know it's different with different instruments, like guitarists can be a little unfriendly to each other, but still, kick about, go chat to some people. Like, you already have a common ground, a starting point to have a conversation. Indulge in it and just see where it goes. And it's not about going, give me work. It's more about just making friends and then just seeing what comes of it. And things like with other musicians, that play your instrument, you can ask them if they need a dep for something, like, let me know. And obviously conduct yourself in a good way. Obviously, I'm kind of just saying it. I know that you know this. Don't go around taking other people's gigs. That's not the vibe. That's not the vibe. I've had it done to me. Trust me, it's not good. I never put those people back on gigs, like asking them to do them. I don't care how good they are. Nah, not gonna happen. Anyway, so trade shows, very good. If you're going to more general trade shows, like for instance right now, NAMM is about to come up, which is the one that's in Anaheim in California. I don't know when it is this year. I assume it's the back end of January. I'm not going this year. I cannot. It's too much. It's too much for me. It's very intense. It's great. I love it. But it's a lot. It's essentially 3 days, 4 days of constant chatting, running around, just... It's amazing, but it takes a lot out of me, and I don't have it. I don't have the energy this year. I really don't. I think I went... Did I go last year? No, it wasn't last year. Do you know what? It might even been 3 years ago. Was it before COVID? Yeah, I think it was. It was 2020. Oh my God, it's almost 5 years ago. How did that happen? Or is it 5 years ago? It's 5 years ago. This is weird. Anyway, trade shows. Excellent. Again, full of musicians, artists, all of that sort of stuff. Also, talk to the vendors, because trade shows are often actually trying to showcase products from different companies. Go chat to those companies. And again, not with a view of give me free stuff, which a lot of people do have that attitude. I have no time for it, honestly. But go to just make friends. Just go, if you already use their stuff, just go and say, look, I just wanted you to know I love this product. Chat about music, just make friends. Again, these are all people. They're not the products, if that makes sense. They are humans. They also are probably musicians. They also may also be session musicians. They also may also, I don't know why I'm talking so strangely today. I think it's because it's New Year, I'm tired. But yeah, they will all have their own sort of like stuff going on. You can just make friends and see what people are up to. Like, it's just about finding out about people. It's not about give me work. The work side of it, yeah, you can be direct. I know people that are, and it works really well for them. For me, it doesn't work. I don't know what it is. I find it very hard, nigh on impossible, because I find it gross. I find it very gross and like almost salesy. It's horrible. I hate it. And it feels like, I tell you what it is for me. It feels like I'm using people, and I don't like that at all. It's something that I really struggle with too when I get that vibe from someone else. Some people are very outward about it, which I find fascinating. But some people think they're being really clever and underhanded and a bit manipulative. It's the quickest way to turn me off from someone. I'm just like, right, step away. Step away, I don't like it. But equally, I'm the same with people. I would rather be someone's friend and we just chat and it develops naturally. Yes, that takes time, and all of this will take time also, I will say. But I have a slightly more indirect approach, I suppose, but it's because friendships are the most important part of it for me. Unless you're going to someone as, say, a fixer, and you're saying, hello, can I have some work? Because that is literally your job. Fine, that's fine. But other than that, like, just go make friends, basically. Another thing that you can do is go to clinics and masterclasses. Again, January, February, there are a few that are on because musicians are around, they're not on the road. So, and whether that's a clinic or a masterclass that's in your instrument or maybe someone else's, like, go for it. Just go chat. The whole point of this is just meeting new people. That's it, and just expanding your network. And then slightly sort of more not indirect, slightly more general ways of doing things in terms of like finding people, like where are all these musicians? Doing online searches is always good, whether that's like message boards, whether that's Facebook, whether that's like Gumtree or Star Now used to be a good one for me. Although I looked at it recently, it's definitely gone more actor based, and that's it. But just finding where people are that, you know, need depth musicians, who need new band members for, let's say, a new artist or a new solo project that they have coming up. And yes, some of this means that you will be playing for free. If you're going to be sitting around twiddling your thumbs anyway, I know which I'd rather do. And I know what is a better investment for sure. And in fact, someone was saying this to me the other day. They're like, yeah, but I could just be practicing. It's like, yeah, but why are you practicing? It's with a view to be out playing live. So go play live. Hone that skill. Like, playing live is a skill, performing to an audience is a skill. So like, do that as much as you can, because that, you like, right, as long as you have access to your instrument, you can do that anytime. practicing, but performing to an audience, sometimes an audience of 3, sometimes you learn the most from those sorts of gigs. I would always recommend being out playing live. That is the quickest way to learn, for sure. So I'd say go do that. There are paid options in terms of like finding gigs and stuff, which I'm always very wary of, because I feel like you should always invest your money wisely. At the end of the day, you know, I still have this where I get the fear that I will be broke as I was when I started again. So I'm very cautious with how I invest my money. But I know that there is there's a WhatsApp group. I think it's called DepSap. I think that's a paid option that kind of like collates all the stuff off like Facebook or whatever for people that need dep musicians. So that could be useful if that's something that sort of interests you, for sure. And then in terms of other ways to kind of find people and gigs and potential work opportunities, just general Google searches. I know that sounds crazy, but if you use the kind of advanced search functions with various kind of like different, what are they called? Synonyms? I think that's right. Synonyms? Antonyms? Synonyms, let's go with that, for different words, then I'd say that's a really, really beneficial way of finding stuff, and quickly, because it will come up straight away. Also, if you add a Google alert on some fancy search that you've kind of created, you will get those alerts straight away, which is really, really useful if like new auditions have come up or whatever else, like whatever opportunity you're looking for. Do a Google search, make it a what am I trying to say? An alert. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I hope this helped you in some way, especially since it's January and I know that we're all sort of chomping at the bit to kind of start working towards our goals, and it can be difficult of where to start. But actually, January is a great time if you're looking to go pro this year, like fully. Maybe you're semi-pro. Get out to some gigs. Get out to gigs. Find out where they are in your local area. Go meet some new people. Go further afield if you're not in a city, as it were. Find out where the musicians are and go meet them, chat to them, make friends. That's literally it. Just go make friends. And you may be lucky, you may meet a George who will say, hey, I've got a gig in 3 days' time, do you want to come do it? Or it might be a little longer than that. It may be a year, 2, 3. I've had 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and then I get a call. You know what I mean? But in that time, you kind of cultivate stuff. You will touch base when you see each other again at different things and all of this. And then obviously, if you want to go back and listen to other episodes, if you then have things like your social media in place, when they look you up, they can be like, oh, they're serious. Like they are good. Like, I get it. But anyway, that's kind of my 2 cents on where to find musicians, where they all are. January, they're often doing their own thing, as in, that's the other thing. If you're a remote recording musician, a lot of musicians across the board will be indulging in their solo projects. So do put the word out, like if they need someone to record on their original stuff, let you know. I think that's all I have to say on the matter today. I feel like today has been fairly short, has it? 28 minutes-ish. That's not too bad for me. Don't you agree? I feel like that's not bad. But anyway, I hope this helped in some way. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do like, share, and subscribe. If you would like me to answer a very specific question that you might have for me that you'd like me to talk about on an episode, you can remain anonymous, or you can tell me your name, however you want to do it. If you go to emilydrums.com/AMA, as in ask me anything, so emilydrums.com/AMA. If you would like to support this podcast on Patreon, you can now at patreon.com/EmilyDrums. And if you would like some help one-on-one, if you would like some personalized like goal setting, we can really work out where you want to be, how we're going to get you there, then I do offer one-to-one coaching right now. If you want to set up a discovery call, which is a free call to just see that I can actually help you and that we're a good fit as well, because I only choose to work with people that I really know I can do something for, but also there has to be a vibe. I will say, if you're listening to this podcast, I feel like we're going to get on anyway, because you don't mind the way that I ramble about the place. So if you go to emilydrums.com/discovery, that's emilydrums.com/discovery, and you can book in a free discovery call with me. And then if we want to work together moving forward, we can discuss that on the call. But anyway, I hope you're good. Happy 2025. Happy New Year. I hope you had a lovely festive period and all that sort of jazz. And yeah, let's make this year awesome, please. Can we? Last year was strange. It was fine, but let's make this year like absolutely banging. Anyway, sending you lots of love, and I will see you next week for another episode. All right, laters, taters. Bye.